Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Trinity Competitive Racing for another season of great action. It's the Platinum class here in Australia, getting things started with pre-season testing, a 60-minute practice session to get everybody warmed up for this new season. We hope you enjoyed your 3-month break. I definitely enjoyed mine. My name is Camden Luca. If you recognize this voice, that is because I commentated the Golden Class in Season 14. I'm being promoted, I guess you could say, up to Platinum Class, which means I am without my buddy TJ in the booth this season, so that's a little disappointing, but I'm happy to be the voice of TCR for Season 15, and we have a lot of stuff to go over here. New faces in new places. New faces from different tiers being promoted up to the Platinum class, and it is going to be one heck of a season. So let's try and get as many people analyzed as we can. And for clarification, this is a 60-minute practice session, no race, no qualifying, just a session to see, where people are at, how much practice people have done, and what their practice skills are like. We don't typically see much of people practicing. This is quite an experience for us to be able to see people out on track just putting in laps, and Stanley is the first person to put in a lap on the hard tires, and this is going to be something to look for. I would say the next 20 minutes, you're going to see a lot of people on the slower tires, except for Darth Vader. He is getting those softs put to use immediately as he goes into the 120s, but most people are going to be on the hard tires. Typically what most people, except for Darth Vader, do in practice is that they go from the slowest compound and then they work their way up all the way to the softs. We saw in silver testing on Tuesday and in golden testing on Wednesday, people typically got faster as the session went on, and I'm sure we'll see that from most people today. So let's start off with Stanley. So Stanley is a returning driver. He is in a new car. He is in the Alfa Romeo this season. In season 14, he was in the Aston Martin, but he will be switching gears over to my car. So I'm glad he's in the Alfa Romeo this season. And we'll have to see what Stanley can do. Stanley had some good pace back in season 14, and we'll see if he can bump it up a notch here in season 15. As it looks like almost everybody is out on track right now. I want to see if we can get a lap. Let's try and get on board here with Dirk Sharp. He's about to begin his lap right here, and let's see what kind of a lap he puts down. Dirk Shark is a new Platinum driver. He's in the AlphaTauri this season. He was a Red Bull Golden Class driver from season 14, and in his rookie year, he actually had a pretty impressive season. He ended up getting his first win at the Mexican Grand Prix, finished 4th in points, and got really good as the season went on, and obviously got promoted pretty quickly because he's already up here in the Platinum class. Interesting there, you saw in turn 4, he went down into 2nd gear, and it looks like he's missed a couple of apexes here, but it is hard to get the rotation of the car when you have these slower, hard tires, and this is his first lap of the day, so it'll be interesting to see what a guy like Dirk Shark can do, a new Platinum class driver, and he's going to have some tough competition. I really think this Platinum class is going to have more competition than season 14. I think B-Tom is not here, but he's probably going to be the favorite for the championship. Don't know if it's going to be by a wide margin, though. We'll talk about that later, but we do have some heavyweights that are going to be in contention, and one of them is here tonight as Dirk Shark is headed through turn 13 and into 14. Gets a little sideways right there, and this is definitely a warm-up lap for the rookie Platinum class driver. He's just going to get a time on the board right here, up in the P5, so a pretty solid lap. I'm sure he could do better, though. take a look. Who else is on a lap right now? Looks like Raikkonen is coming to the finish line about 4/10 up on his previous lap, and he has not used any battery at all on this lap. Let's see where this puts him. Up in the P4, a 122.8. And something I will be keeping an eye on is the telemetry. As you see the bottom of the screen right there, he is not using any battery, but he is using DRS right there. Definitely something to look for, because personally, when I am practicing, I don't like to go and use any DRS, because in most scenarios in a race, you're not going to be using DRS, especially if you're by yourself. And I think everybody on the grid wishes that they don't have to use DRS, because if that's the case, then, you know, if they're leading, then they won't have to use DRS. So DRS is not something that people want to use, because they are not in the lead if that's the case. But everybody's got different strategies to practice, and some people like to use the DRS. I typically don't, but whatever is your cup of tea, I guess. So we got Andy here. It looks like he's invalidated, but I assume he's still going full throttle here. It's just practice, and really, who cares if you invalidate? This is not qualifying or anything serious, so he's just trying to get some laps in here. Let's go on board with Verstappen right here. Verstappen is a returning driver from season 14, and he does have really good pace, but believe it or not, he only won one race last season in season 14, and it did come at Baku, which is one of the craziest tracks on the circuit, and I am sad to announce that it will not be on the schedule in season 15. So one of my personal favorite tracks, but we will not see it again in season 15, as Verstappen is getting every little bit out of his car right there through turn 12. That right-hander definitely can get you, especially if you get on the curbs, and he gets on the curbs again right there. Verstappen going for it all. Let's see what kind of a lap he puts down. At P5, right behind Raikkonen. I'm sure that is not his best effort. I'm sure we'll see more speed out of him. Yep, there he goes. Definitely pushing the limits of his car right there, and he spins out on track right here. Nothing to lose, so you might as well go for it. Might as well get everything you can, as Cam is getting everything he can early on, and that is a good lap. Our first lap in the 118s, a full 2 seconds ahead of anybody else. And, you know, we saw Darth Vader before. That is professional, by the way. He has changed his name this season, and we'll talk about Darth Vader here. It's going to take a bit for me to get used to. We'll talk about him in a little bit, but he is definitely going to be one of the favorites in season 15. But yeah, Cam opting to put on the softs, and, you know, I think for this track, if you put down a time in the 118s, you're going to be up there probably in the top 10 in qualifying. I think the pole is going to be around a 117, though. So Cam showing the benchmark early on. We'll see if that benchmark improves. Mebe, a long-time TCR driver, up into second on the medium tires. It's a pretty sporty lap for that compound. And you notice on the telemetry, he has used a little bit of battery. I've noticed from most people, they haven't even touched it. I think at this point in the session, I would be around Mebe's telemetry, actually. You know, yesterday, or 2 days ago, actually, I opted not to do any practice on the hard tires. I really focused on just getting some laps on the mediums and the softs, because I really have not done any laps on the softs this week up until Tuesday. And I would say around this point in practice on Tuesday, I had about 60% battery, so good on Mebe for using it. You know, you're going to be using it during the race. You know, the stints on the medium tires here only go about 11 or 12 laps. You might as well use that battery and just get experience for the race, and Mebe definitely used his battery to put up a pretty good lap time right there. So for those who are watching, welcome to testing of Trinity Competitive Racing. Whether you are watching on YouTube or Twitch, let me know if I'm sounding good. This is a new mic for me this season. The last Mike in Season 14 started to get a little dead towards the end of the season. It started to sound like I was way too fuzzy, you know. I did not want to sound like I was at a Build-A-Bear workshop, but that's how much fuzz was in my mic last season. So we're upgrading to a new mic this season, so for anybody that's watching, just let me know how I sound, and hopefully we can work this out together here in Season 15. Looks like Darth Vader is bailing out of this lap, or at least has made a mistake. He's invalidated, and he is behind the Williams. So we'll see how this goes right here. I'm assuming the Williams may be heading into the pits. Maybe Darth Vader will have to make an overtake as he misses the apex off into the grass in turn 13. That is not the racing line by any means. Raikkonen improving his time right here. Raikkonen, a long-time TCR driver. He was actually in the Williams in Season 14. He has jumped ship over to the best car in Formula 1. Personal bias there, but he will be in the Mercedes this season, and, you know, I'm looking at the roster, and as of now, I do not believe he has a teammate, so he's going to have to find somebody, or his battle for the constructors is going to be pretty complicated. But Raikkonen, doing his job at least, pulling the Mercedes team along, and he'll have to do some work this season to try and keep within touch of the constructors. And somebody I want to talk about when it comes to the constructors is this guy right here, Seafreeze, as he's getting sideways, pushing the limits of his car right here. Rather do that now compared to next Thursday. You really want to see what you can do with the car, where the limit is in these corners, and Seafreeze, his best time is the slowest on the grid, so I can tell a driver of his caliber, that's not his best lap, trust me. He is pushing the limits of his car, trying to see when he will lose traction, and he has invalidated this lap. But we are going to talk about Seafreeze right here, because I think that Seafreeze is in for a comeback season. The three-time former TCR champion has not won a championship in quite a few seasons, and he actually went on a pretty long winless streak too. He returned to the top step of the podium last season in Britain in a thrilling finish actually between him and B-Tom and Verstappen. It was quite a finish, and he ended up being victorious there. But I'm telling you what, I've done some laps with him so far in practice sessions and 5-lappers. Seafreeze has the pace. I think he is going to be really hungry to make sure that B-Tom does not break that tie with him, because they're tied right now, and B-Tom has won 2 of the last 3 championships, 3 of the last 4 in the Platinum class. And based on how many races B-Tom won last season, I mean, there's no reason why he's not the favorite to win the championship here, and even the constructors. I think Seafreeze and D'Angelo will put up a good fight, but I'll talk about this guy right here, the homie, TJ, and there he goes, doing a 360 right there out of turn 2. But, you know, TJ couldn't quite get to victory lane in Season 14. He won the Golden Class Drivers' Championship and Constructors' Championship in Season 13, and he was able to pick up the Constructors' Championship last season. He did finish well in the drivers' standings, you know. He was no slouch by any means, finishing 3rd in points, but couldn't quite get to the top step of the podium in Season 14, so I'm sure TJ is going to be hungry here to get back to glory, if you will. And he is in a McLaren, which that is the car he won both drivers and constructors in the Golden Class with, so I don't know, maybe this will be a good luck charm for my former co-commentator, and he will not be commentating the Golden Class in Season 15, unfortunately, but he's going to be putting all of his effort into going for a Platinum Class championship, and, you know, I don't think by any means it's unrealistic that he might end up being a 3-time Constructors champion if he and B-Tom can pull it off, but Seafreeze and D'Angelo are going to be right there. And we'll go over predictions tomorrow on the TCR podcast. It'll get posted on Monday, but I think it's going to be pretty close. I'll reveal who I have winning the Constructors between Aston Martin and McLaren, but it's going to be one of those two teams, I have a feeling. So if you're watching, welcome to preseason testing for TCR, Trinity Competitive Racing. Leave your predictions down below. I will read them, shout them out, if they're good predictions, of course. But TJ on a slower lap right here. Let's see what Seafreeze has. He's only a little bit up on his time, so, and I've noticed he has not used much of his battery, so Seafreeze looking to strike, I feel like, later on in this session. Let's see what he could do right here. Couldn't really put the throttle down on corner exit. He comes to the line, improves a little bit, but still in the 124s. A little ways behind P10 with TJ in the McLaren. I think we've gone over most drivers, so what I do want to talk about now is I want to go over some of the features that Season 15 has in store, and one of them is really different. So, in Season 15, we'll be having Sprint Week for a couple of weeks at Round 3 in Brazil and Round 13 in Hungary, and one of the additions is that we will have 3 tire compounds at those races. So, essentially, drivers will have to put on soft tires, medium tires, and the hard tires all in a single 50% race throughout the whole race. So that will be something to look for. We have done that in the All-Star race in the past. We actually did that in Season 14. But we'll be doing that in 2 points races in Season 15. So that'll be a new element to the strategy, and it's good to spice things up a little bit. You know, it keeps people interested throughout an entire season. This season is a little bit longer than Season 14, as we will have 15 races this season, including an all-star race, so really you're looking at 16 weeks, and if you include preseason, it's 17 weeks, so it's going to be a little bit of a longer season. It's good to add a little bit of spice to the flavoring, as take a look at Raikkonen here. He has put 11 laps on his hard tires. Make that 12. Putting up some pretty good laps here, so good on him for sticking it out on those hard tires and trying to put down as many laps as possible here as he heads through Sector 1. Let's go on board with him. We haven't really done much analysis of drivers taking a lap around here as he heads through the kink of Turn 5 into this fast right-hander, down into 5th gear. Could have gotten closer to the curbs right there. And this long right-hander of Turn 8. This is a reconfiguration. Just last year, actually, the first year that they reconfigured the track to make that an entire straightaway, and Raikkonen missing another apex right there. You really want to get on the curbs in that fast chicane of turns 9 and 10. Couldn't quite do that time. Let's see how he does here in this awkward 90-degree corner of turn 11. Does a pretty good job there. Into turn 12, that was not too bad. He's already invalidated, but I assume he's going to stick this lap out right here, get to the finish line, down into 3rd, up to 5th by corner exit, and coming to the finish line. Let's just see what kind of a lap he would have put up. A 122.8, which isn't bad on 13-lap old hard tires. Who do we got? Looks like TJ. Okay, interesting. So, TJ, doing things a little bit different. Going from the medium tires, which he started on, down to the hard tires. And I want to transition here to, whoa, watch out, TJ, to the best laps that people have done. You notice most people have been prioritizing the hard tires, except for TJ. You know, TJ's done 9 laps on the medium tires. And he's put up a 122.8, and knowing TJ's pace, knowing how he did last season, and just knowing that he is a two-time Constructors Champion, a former Drivers Champion in this league. I'm certain that is not his best lap. So we'll see what he can do right here. Let's go on board with him. I'm curious if he will start to use any battery. No battery, no DRS, so pretty realistic. If I were him, I would test the battery just a little bit right here. He went down into second through turn 4, and that actually that's turn 3. Oh, there he goes. Yep. Well, he was definitely pushing, regardless of not using any of the battery or the DRS. He was definitely pushing it, but yeah, interesting to see a lot of these Platinum guys use lower gears. You know, I'm somebody that tends to like to use a higher gear just because I like to get back to the throttle as soon as I can. So through turn 3 there, I actually take it through 4th gear. And then right before turn 4, I shift into 5th gear. Dark Shark through turns 9 and 10 went down to 6th gear. Let's see what he does through turn 11. That was interesting. He did not go up into 8th gear as TJ gives way, lets him by right there. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like higher gears is the way to go, and I know it differentiates based on what you're using, you know, whether you're a wheel user or a pad user, but I personally like to use as high of a gear as possible as Dirk Shark. Getting up there, the rookie driver, getting up on the charts with the likes of Darth Vader, and you know what? I think this is a good time to talk about him as he has resorted to the medium tires, and Darth Vader, aka Professional, runner-up in Season 14. He was able to win a couple of races in the Mercedes. He is now in the Ferrari, which was formerly used by Seafreeze, and I'm sure he's going to be hungry to try and make things happen. You know, he came runner-up last season, but it wasn't really close between him and B-Tom. B-Tom kind of ran away with it, and Darth Vader, you know, he had a couple of moments where he got into it with a couple of drivers last season, so I think something that maybe he could work on is just cleaning it up a little bit off the track, and, you know, he was pretty consistent on track, so I think he's good there, but maybe if he wins a couple more races, he could put himself in contention. You know, Darth Vader is no slouch by any means, so I'm sure he'll be right there competing for not only drivers but constructors with his teammate Verstappen in the Ferrari. It's weird to see a Verstappen in a Ferrari car, but who do we have putting up laps here? Looks like most people have been staying on track here. Ooh, Dark Shark. Look at him. A 120.1. Man, maybe it's a good thing that he got promoted up to the Platinum class. You see, had a little bit of oversteer there heading into the kink, but we have a lot of people that are not here for the test session tonight, and a lot of them are really noteworthy, so I actually want to go over some of them right now. I want to go over Stanley's teammate, Got Any Weave, who is the Season 14 reigning Golden Class champion, and, you know, he was not really wanting to be promoted up to the Platinum class this season as Stanley does a donut out of the kink there in turn 6. Watch out for him sitting in the middle of the track. And we saw this from a lot of... Whoa. That was a good reset the track right there. We saw a lot of Golden drivers reportedly not happy being moved up to the Platinum class this season, and one of them was Got Any Weeb. And typically, you know, when you win the Golden Class Championship, it's kind of expected that you just get moved up to the Platinum class. And Got Any Weeb really did not run away with the championship. He actually won it by just 2 points over GT Lion. And we'll talk about GT in a second, but he will be in Platinum as well this season. But Got Any Weeb, one of his reasons to why he did not want to move up is that he wanted to remain teammates with his longtime friend Fire Up Flow, who is still going to be in the Golden Class for Season 15. But the ownership of the league, aka C-Freeze, was a little harder on people this season. You know, Platinum Class last season had the lowest attendance on average of the 3 classes, and you notice tonight we only have 11 people that showed up, and we still do not have a full grid for the Platinum Class. So, if you are interested in signing up, not just for Platinum Class, that is for exclusively for the best of the best, but if you want to race, you know, and you don't necessarily have the experience, or you need to take off assists, the Silver Class is there for you. You can use just about any assist, and we do have several spots available, so make sure to go to trinitycompetitiveracing.com, sign up there, join our Discord. Our Discord is always entertaining, lots of stuff going on there, so make sure you do that as, whoa, Andy to the top of the board. Cam is superior no longer, as Andy making his force known there in that new Williams, getting into the 118s. But yeah, back to the Golden Drivers for a second. Gottney Weeb is being promoted. GT Lion is actually not racing. I said he was going to be in Platinum. He would have been in Platinum if he chose to race, but due to the scheduling conflicts, I do not think that he will be racing this season in the Platinum Class, so hopefully we'll see him in the future. But a lot of these drivers from the Golden Class being promoted, and that is mainly due to lack of attendance from the Platinum Class last season. So Platinum Class is priority, and we want people to show up to that. C-Freeze is really fascinating me here. I want to just take a look here at the laps people have put down in total. Yeah, so C-Freeze has put up... Actually, no, Raikkonen has put up the most laps. C-Freeze here going for that record, though. He's at 17. He's about to get to 18. C-Freeze is the slowest time on the board, which is really interesting considering he's put up just about the most laps, and I'm sure he doesn't really care about trying to show off in this session. You know, like I said earlier, I really think C-Freeze is going to be right there for the Drivers' Championship, just based off of what I've seen, and I'm sure he's hungry. He has said that he is going to really work harder than he did last season. He's going to commit to winning races and beating B-Tom for that 4th championship. And that is going to be a story that you hear me mention a lot this season, because it's a big deal. You have somebody that won a ton of championships back when TCR first started, which is C-Freeze. He won 3 championships back within the first few seasons of the league, and B-Tom has won 3 of the last 4 Platinum Class championships. So C-Freeze trying to return to glory and take B-Tom off of his throne that he has had for quite a while now. Interesting here, C-Freeze taking these hard tires, 18 laps, and you know, that's really like the limit that you could do with these hard tires. Man, the strategy here in Australia, personally, I think you can take the medium tires about 12 to 13 laps, and in a 29 lap race, that means you're taking the hard tires a good 17 or so laps, and C-Freeze is definitely testing them here and not really caring to use the batteries. So I'm sure C-Freeze is gonna be ready for for Thursday. He's putting out a ton of laps right now, as is Raikkonen, but he has come in the pits, so we'll see how long C-Freeze dares to take these hard tires, as TJ is on the hard tires right here. Looks like he is behind Mebe. We talked about him earlier, but he's done quite a few laps. 12 laps here, about halfway through the session right here. Sporting that number 15. That is one of my favorite numbers, actually. I used to drive the 15 for a couple of different leagues. I haven't used it in TCR specifically, but I don't know. I like that number. I hope no real F1 driver takes it, because I don't know. Maybe one day if the 53 doesn't work out for me, maybe I'll have to return to 15. I am a little superstitious when it comes to that. And I really shouldn't be, because, you know, I heard a story from Lewis Hamilton talk about how for the longest time when he was racing in the junior karts, he would like he would have a whole pre-race routine where he would go and like tie his shoes, like right shoe then left shoe. He would, you know, eat a certain meal, and but then he crashed out on the first lap of one of his races and realized, you know what, being superstitious is kind of ridiculous. So I've been kind of back and forth on superstition, and I don't know, I've stuck with it a little bit, and maybe I need to stop sticking with it, as maybe here putting down laps on the hard tires. And really, this is about the time where you're going to see people transitioning off of the hard tires and going on to the medium and the soft tires, as we have just 26 minutes left in the session. This is going to be about the point where you see people going on the mediums. Let's see who is on the mediums right now. Verstappen, a second up on his lap. His first lap, it looks like, on the medium tires. Yeah, he did 8 laps on the hard tires before, and he is definitely going full throttle here. Take a look. He has used a lot of his battery. I think he's going for a hot lap right here. Ooh, gets a little bit of that red curbing there in that 90-degree corner of turn 11. You don't want to do that. Let's see how he does right here. Really hard to hit your apex in turn 13. Oh, never mind. He said, nope, I did not like that lap. Looked like it was going pretty well, too. I'm kind of surprised he bailed out right there. But we'll see if he can... Oh, well, that's because he's leaving. He's had enough in general. He's like, nope, I'm done. I've had enough laps here. 8 laps on the hard tires, half a lap on the mediums. That's good enough for me. I am ready for next Thursday. In which we will be back here next Thursday for the season opener of the Platinum class. I will be here, and hopefully I have somebody else in here with me, because my voice is already shredded 35 minutes into the session, and my voice is worn out, so hopefully we get somebody else in the booth here next week for the season opener of the Platinum class. And make sure to tune in. Make sure to leave your comments. I definitely read the comments, and if you want to participate, we still have some spots open, so make sure to sign up at trinitycompetitiveracing.com. We do have a small entry fee that you have to pay. It's only 10 USD dollars, so just keep that into consideration. Not too much money, but it's definitely worth it, though. And I do think, you know, there's been some people within the league that have been kind of skeptical about the entry fee. They're like, you know, do we really need one in league racing? And based on the attendance last season, especially through Silver class and the Golden class, I think it works. You know, as the Silver class coordinator, we only lost a couple of drivers last season, as TJ having a little bit of understeer there out of turn 14. I think it works. I think it really makes people commit to racing the entire season. And, oh, hard in the wall is TJ. If damage was on, he would have been out of the race. His front wing would have been shattered all across the track, and he probably would have had about 3 concussions right there. So, yeah, good thing damage is off for this session. But yeah, make sure to sign up at trinitycompetitiveracing.com if you want to experience all of the excitement that TCR has to offer. And this is exciting right here. Take a look at this. Oh, TJ, we have some racing going on here, side by side. Ooh, that was close. Good overtake right there. And you know what? I know it's kind of common courtesy to make way here in practice, and I'm sure we'll see the same thing in qualifying sessions. But good on TJ for at least trying to race him. It looks like he's trying to keep up with Stanley. Missing your apex there in turn 9 is not going to do that, but good on him. You know, I feel like one of the things that I am always trying to work on is my racecraft, racing side by side with people, especially in this era of F1 where you have a lot more aggression, and the tracks really are suited nowadays for drivers to make risky, bold moves. You know, the track in Las Vegas, I'm not really a fan of it. We'll see the track in the new game, which is coming out this summer. I'm not a big fan of it because really, like I said, it's mostly straightaways and fast speeds, and I think there's a skill to being able to work the limits of the car through a fast sweeping corner, but I prefer slower corners where you really have to mash the gas like Stanley was trying to do right there and failed to accomplish. But I really prefer slower corners where you really have to work the throttle and kind of manhandle the car a little bit. And it's a shame that F1 is kind of going away from that. But F1 is suited towards faster, drivers, faster corners, and you have to be aggressive. I think it's good that TJ was practicing that with Stanley right there, and not necessarily moving out of the way. And yep, he's being aggressive, and he rear ends it into the wall, out of the fast chicane in turns 9 and 10. That is another concussion for TJ. So he's up to what, 5 concussions in this practice session so far? It's gonna end up like Kurt Busch here if he keeps doing that. All right. 21 minutes left in the session, and we have a bunch of drivers here who have gone on the soft tires. One of them is Flying Jippo. I haven't really mentioned him yet, but he has put up a pretty good lap time, a 119.3, and he is a returning driver. He is the Season 10 Golden Class champion from a few seasons back now, a few years ago now, actually, and he's looking to make his Platinum Class stride here, trying to get a Platinum Class championship. We have never seen anybody, actually, fun fact, we have never seen anybody in the history of TCR win a Silver Class, Golden Class, and a Platinum Class championship. And if you saw the Golden Class testing yesterday, you would know that Tebow is returning to Golden Class, and he is probably going to be the favorite for that championship. And as of now, it's looking like he's got a good chance of becoming the first ever driver to win a championship in all 3 classes. It might take him a few seasons because, winning a Golden Class championship is one thing, but once you get up to Platinum Class with the likes of B-Tom and Seafreeze, it gets really tough. So, Tebow going to be going for a Golden Class championship to try and do what Flying Jippo has done back in Season 10. And we do have actually another driver in the Williams who is a former Golden Class champion. Andy won a championship in the Golden Class all the way back in Season 8. So we got some flashbacks here in the Williams, which makes sense because that's kind of all the Williams is nowadays. It's just flashbacks to when they were good back in, the 70s, 90s? I don't know. Way before I was born. Way before I was born, and it's a shame because the Williams is actually one of my favorite cars. It was the car I drove for the longest time, not just in Apex Online Racing, but in seasons 12 and 13, I drove as the Williams car. I don't know. I just like the blue. I like back then it used to be blue and white, but now it's pretty much blue. As Dirk Shark, speaking of white and blue, he's going into the green, into the grass there, and pushing the limits of that car on the soft tires. And man, I am really impressed with Dirk Shark here in this session. You take a look at his best time. He did that on medium tires. 6 laps on the medium tires, he put up a 120.1. I think that's pretty good. I'm curious as to what he can do once he gets a lap in on the soft tires, but with the soft tires, you can, depending on how good your previous lap was, you can get up to a second faster on the soft tires, which would put Dirk Shark right there with the fastest times of this session. So I would love to see him get back out there. Hopefully he can get a clean lap in and do a hot lap on the soft tires. And this is about the point where people are going to start doing hot laps. Or at least they should. I did a couple of hot lap stints on Tuesday, and I think it's important that you do that today. Qualifying is huge, especially for the first race of the season, because everybody practices for the first race of the season, and you want to get off on a good foot to start out the season. You know, it's not short by any means. There's 15 races on the calendar, but it really does a huge thing for your confidence if you can start off the season on a good note, as Raikkonen continuing to go up the charts, getting into the 120s on the medium tires. So Raikkonen, I'm very curious as to what he can do this season. I'm very curious as to where his pace is going to stack up with everybody else's. Let's take a look at the lap count. Who has done the most laps here? Looks like, pretty sure Raikkonen has done more laps than just 3, but, yeah, pretty sure he's done. Yeah, let's take a look at, can I get? Okay, I swear Raikkonen has done more than 3 laps, but, yeah, interesting. Anyways, let's go down to Seafreeze here, and he has shifted to the medium tires. So he's doing the traditional practice strategy of going from the slowest tire to the fastest tire. He's not going to have much time, though, to work on the mediums and the soft tires with only 16 minutes left in the session, and he is within a big spiderweb of cars here. A bunch of cars located in Sector 3 right here, as he is located in Turn 14. You can really mash the throttle there. You saw right on corner exit there, he got full throttle, and he goes up a little bit on the charts to a 122.2. So slowly but surely making his way up through the leaderboard, and Seafreeze, one of the drivers with the most laps in this session. And I wasn't kidding when I said that he is going to really try and prevent B-Tom from breaking that tie with him for the most TCR championships. Everybody likes a good GOAT conversation. I think we're going to have one this season, depending on who wins the championship. I think it's safe to say whoever wins the championship between these two, and I think it really is going to come down to either B-Tom or Seafreeze. I think it's a fair judgment to declare one of them the true GOAT of TCR if one of them can pull it off, and I'm sure, you know, we'll have those discussions on the TCR podcast at one point, and Seafreeze will rightfully argue that, you know, argue in his favor. Who is that that's on his tail right here? Oh, not Raikkonen, that's for sure. Stanley, trying to chase him down right here. Whoa, Seafreeze, going off the track a little bit right there. Oh, Andy has said goodbye. Seafreeze has said goodbye. What's going on here? We might have a lobby issue, or maybe they're just, nope, I think Seafreeze is peacing out here. He did put in a handful of laps, so we will see what he can do. And I'm sure his teammate D'Angelo, I haven't really mentioned him yet. D'Angelo is one of those Golden Class drivers who will be up in the Platinum Class this season, and for a good 4 or 5 races, he was looking like the favorite to win the Golden Class Championship. Then it all fell apart late last season. I'm not over-exaggerating. It literally, I mean, he had one hell of a season collapse as Dirk Shark, one of the Golden Class drivers from last season. You know what? I could say champion, actually. Yeah, Dirk Shark could be in the running for the Platinum Class Championship at this rate. If those times stick up throughout the entire season, Dirk Shark will be right there. This is really impressive stuff. I'm sure qualifying, we'll see times maybe in the 117s, but I mean, he's one of the fastest guys in practice right now, and he's going up against drivers who have been in the Platinum Class for multiple seasons, so good job, Dirk Shark. But going back to D'Angelo, he has shown a lot of speed in practice sessions I've done with him throughout this off-season. In 5-lappers, he's beaten me just about every time, and I know I'm a shitty Silver Class driver, but it's not like it's been close. I mean, D'Angelo has been right there with Seafreeze in the practice sessions, and I'm sure D'Angelo is going to be hungry. I think he's definitely going to practice a little bit more this season because there is a lot on the line. I think if Seafreeze and D'Angelo can both compete for the Drivers' Championship, they might be right there with B. Tom and TJ to go for that Constructors' Championship. And for D'Angelo, that would be 3 straight seasons of him winning some sort of a Constructors' Championship, as Dirk Shark definitely putting the brakes on a little bit right there. A 131 is off the pace, but I'm telling you though, once you put about 2 laps on these soft tires, they just fall off a cliff. Literally. So I do not recommend doing the soft tires here unless if it's qualifying, and only qualifying. As take a look at Jippo. He's projected to possibly get in the 118s right here as he heads through the fast chicane, and he goes around. Commentator's curse. First one of the season. There we go. Just don't do that next Thursday. And I'll try not to curse these guys next Thursday as well. Who is that pulling over for him? Is that Raikkonen in the Mercedes? Yes, it is. I swear, he's put up more than 6 laps in this session. I think this thing is just being inaccurate. I just wish it would show you all of the laps. Unless if I'm being stupid, I really don't think there's a way you could... Yeah, I don't think there's a way you could really see the leaderboard, so, oh well. 11 minutes left in the session. Most people who are still... Seafreeze is coming out on track. Did he rejoin the session? Interesting. Looks like he has. He's on those medium tires, so we'll take a look and see what he does right here. Should be interesting, and we only have 10 minutes left, so really, at this point, I recommend going on the soft tires and doing some hot laps, seeing what you can put down for your qualifying time. Some drivers opting to do the medium tires, though. Alright, we have a prediction here in the chat. Not sure when that prediction was put in. Reflector says... Flying Jippo at least 4 wins this season. Okay, so the former Golden Class champion going to make a comeback here and go for a Platinum Class championship. I like that. I like the fact that we have 2 former Golden champions from a ways back, both being teammates. I think that's really cool. And Flying Jippo, he's shown some speed here in the practice session, so Reflector, that's a pretty interesting prediction right here. I like that. I have learned not to laugh at people's predictions, because last season, if you check out one of the shorts, you go into the shorts on our YouTube channel, there's a specific short where in a previous TCR podcast episode, me and a bunch of others basically clowned the idea that Gottany Weeb would go and win the Golden Class Championship. This was about midway through last season when he had not won any races yet. And out of nowhere, Seafreeze was like, you know what? I think Gottany Weeb is going to do it. I think this is his season, and he's going to make you all look silly. And it turns out, he made us look silly. He went and won the Golden Class Championship. So, your prediction, Reflector, could be right. Flying Jippo, no slouch by any means. You know, like I said, former champion of the league, but you know, if you compare him to B. Tom, Seafreeze, Professional, he's probably an underdog, you know? And he has put up a 119.3, a pretty sporty lap time, and I'm sure he's going to start using everything he's got here, and he is using the DRS. Stanley is using the DRS and the ERS. Let's see what kind of a time he can put up right here. He makes it through the fast chicane. We've seen some drivers here so far make mistakes here. By the way, how is my mic sounding? I've noticed we've had some new viewers here in the last couple of minutes. I do have a new mic. Is it sounding good, sounding not so good? Just let me know how the mic is sounding. I want to make sure it's sounding really good this season for the Platinum Class. But Stanley, a returning Platinum Class driver, now in the Alfa Romeo, formerly in the Aston Martin, going to the fastest time of the board, a 118.8. Yeah, this is definitely the time where people are going to be putting in their best laps. Dirk Shark, oh boy. I hyped him up earlier in this session. I really like his pace, and I think he's going to be somebody to look for. I think he might surprise a lot of people and potentially win a race, you know. TJ, here we go. Now we're getting into the mid 118s, and Sir TJ, the homie, has put up a fastest time of a 118.5. That's a pretty good lap time. I think that would... Oh, he's doing a burnout. Wrong way, TJ. I'm putting you on full blast right here. TJ, no. You can't do this. Oh, yeah, get out of the way, TJ. This is silly. He's doing the Polish victory lap. NASCAR fans will know what I'm talking about. Alan Kawicki did that in the early 90s. I think, you know what? I think TJ is saying, I want to redo that lap. If I go backwards, do I get to redo my lap and get a faster lap time? TJ is declaring he has already won the championship. TJ wins the Season 15 Platinum Class Championship. He is a two-time overall TCR champion, and he is celebrating in the grass of the Australian track. Good for TJ. Hopefully he's listening to some music right now. I did give him some suggestions earlier on in the day. I told him to listen to The Weeknd. Hopefully he took my suggestion seriously, and maybe that's what he's listening to right now as he does celebratory burnouts. As of now, he's winning the practice session, but hold your horses there, cowboy. Here comes Dirt Shark. Oh, he's invalidated. Never mind. Hold your horses for a little bit longer. Is Darth Vader... No, Darth Vader is opting to do the hard tires, so he does not want to go and reveal his qualifying pace just yet. Same with Seafreeze. Seafreeze still on the medium tires here. And I mean, we see Seafreeze only a high 121, but I really don't think this is the best we will see from Seafreeze. He has a ton of pace. He has shown it throughout this off-season, and I know he is hungry to go for that 4th championship. So, Seafreeze, maybe he's saving the best for next Thursday. Maybe he doesn't want to give too much away just yet. So we'll see what the former 3-time champion and potential GOAT, I guess you could put him in the GOAT conversation, but we'll see what the potential GOAT has in store for next week. I noticed a lot of new people joining. Welcome to testing for Trinity Competitive Racing. I am Camden Luca, former Golden commentator, working my way up to the Platinum class. Blin Machine is not going to be with us in Season 15. He's not dead, he's just not going to be with us this next season. So, hopefully I have a co-commentator with me throughout the season. My voice is absolutely burnt, and hopefully we get somebody to spice things up here in the booth this season. It will not be my former partner in crime, TJ, as obviously he is doing an outlap here in the Platinum class, trying to defend his previous lap. As Mebe, oh, he got close. A 1:18.6 going for a hot lap, and he couldn't quite get the former Golden Class champion and previous Constructors Platinum Class champion. Stanley, a 1:18.8, a little bit slower than the top 2 guys. Who do we got here? Flying Jippo on an outlap as Reflector, I noticed, as I mentioned before, put a prediction that he's going to have a great season and win 4 races. So we'll see. Jippo, you got a lot of pressure on you, man. High expectations for this season. But Jippo is on an outlap. Raikkonen is on a flyer. He's got some traffic ahead of him. We'll see if they get out of the way, and yo, barely. Oof, that was close, Bebe. As, yep, saw that coming. Had a little bit of oversteer there in turn 10, and Raikkonen will have to hold his horses and save his best for another lap here, as he has invalidated on his flyer, so he will have to wait to put up another lap here as Stanley is invalidated as well. I think this is his out lap though. See what he can do right here. Stanley looking pretty sporty. TJ, I actually want to look at TJ right here, as I think he had to back out right there. Nope, let's not look at TJ. Let's look at Stanley into turns 1 and 2, and that's his lap over. It's really easy to invalidate turn 2. You have just the slightest bit of understeer, and you take all 4 wheels off the track just the slightest bit, and the game will get you. And he is, yep, he's done. He's going into the wall. If damage was on, his car would be into a million pieces. So, oh, Dirk Shark, here comes Jaws, looking to get a good lap in right here. And I'm telling you, he's put up a great time for being a Golden Class champion. TJ has retired. Did he retire on track? I don't know, but just a FYI, if you are watching this as either a Silver Class, Golden Class, or Platinum Class driver, we do not do that in TCR. I'm not saying that he necessarily did it, but we do not retire on track in TCR. That is one of the rules that you need to follow, and if you are looking to join TCR, please read the rulebook. It is on the website. It's not anything special, you know, it's just like any other league, but common courtesy is a must. You want to make sure you know what you're doing, and there's just some little things to note with TCR, and just make sure you have the rules all in your brain by the time next week arrives. And next week we'll be here shortly, as we have just a minute left in the session, and next week we kick things off with a Silver Class with the Australian Grand Prix next Tuesday. I will be there among many others, trying to go for wins and a championship. Watch out, Ferrari. Who was that? Darth Vader, get out of the way. I think he's going for a hot lap right here, though. Yeah, let's do a lap with Darth Vader here. I haven't done a lap with him, aka Professional, changing up his name and his car this season, sporting that number 2 car. Hopefully he's not number 2 on the track, guys. Whoa, Dirk Shark, Jaws, he's done. Not going to get a quicker lap here, as Darth Vader taking 4th gear through turn 5. I opt to do 5th gear through there, but whatever tickles your fancy, as he does not go into 8th gear. Interesting. I tend to go through 8th gear right before that fast right-hander. I don't know if he's going to be able to put up a great lap right here. I noticed he did not start out with a lot of battery, and he is down to 25% on the battery, so Professional, aka Darth Vader, whatever you want to call him, is off the track, and that will pretty much do it. I don't think he's going to get a faster lap. Cam, let's see what Cam does. Cam is right on the cusp of getting a quicker lap. Not the best turn, what is that, turn 11, turn 12. He could have gotten, yeah, this is not going to be a quicker lap, I don't think. Let's see what he does right here. That was not the best, and yeah, he's invalidated. Okay, so he's done. Mebe is invalidated, so that might do it, actually, as Dirk Shark is going to do some burnouts? Question mark? Come on, let's do some burnouts. There we go. Nice little swerve right there. Oh, interesting. What's he doing? Oh, that is not good for the engine. I would not recommend doing that. Dirk Shark taking his time coming into the pits. You really want to make sure you don't speed. Speeding penalties are something to look for. I think it's quite a skill to be able to get down to pit road speed without braking too early. You know, you don't want to brake like 50 yards before the pit limiter and brake check everybody behind you, but it is a skill being able to just hit 50 miles an hour as you hit the pit limiter. Let's see if he does it right here. No, he entered about 25 miles an hour, which is about half the speed you want to be going at into the pits. And good for Dirk Shark giving us a little bit of a show, but that will do it. TJ is the fastest driver of the preseason testing here in Australia. And I know we have a handful of drivers that did not show up for this session, but the driver who finished in the top 3 in points and won the Constructors' Championship, starting off on a good foot as he is the winner. And we saw him do some burnouts earlier in the session, so he's making the most of what he can win. He is going for his first ever win in the Platinum class in Season 15, so we'll give a rundown of the order. Some people not opting to take the soft tires, and we'll see what their qualifying pace is like next Thursday, as that will do it for testing. I do want to mention a couple of more things that I did not mention here in this session, but the TCR Grand Prix, essentially the Super Bowl of TCR, will be held at Monza for round 11. That should be really interesting. I am looking forward to that. B-Tom won the TCR Grand Prix last season at Bahrain in thrilling fashion. He ended up clinching the championship, actually, by doing that a handful of races before the season ended, so good on him for doing that. And our All-Star race this season was in China last season. Our All-Star race will be held, believe it or not, in Bahrain, which was the site of the TCR Grand Prix, so that should be interesting to see the excitement going down into Turn 1. Some of the league's best drivers going down into Turn 1 at Bahrain should be good. I'm glad we're not doing the sprint races there, or at least the feature races that we did last season. We did a 5-lap feature to start off the Bahrain Grand Prix last season in the silver class and the golden class, which ended in demolition. And I'm sure it'll be a lot cleaner with the All-Star drivers being in Bahrain this season. But that will do it for Platinum class testing here in Australia. Tune in next week to the podcast. We will have a season preview of the season Monday morning for the TCR podcast. Silver class kicks things off with the Australian Grand Prix Tuesday night at 8:45 Eastern. The Golden class, 8:45 Eastern on Wednesday. And Thursday night next week, the Platinum class will kick things off, and you will see it right here on the Twitch and YouTube channels. But that will do it for me. Look at that. That is a crash. My name is Camden Luca, and we will see you next week for a whole lot of racing and entertainment.